Alrighty, as you can see, all these weapons are cleared. Okay, I want to talk about revolvers and 380s and 9mm. Okay, this is a 9mm, and these three here are 380s. I'm a big 380 fan. This was my first weapon I purchased back in '88. It's a Colt Mustang 380. So that takes that bullet. This takes this bullet. The difference between these three 380s is one is capacity, next is weight, and this is and the way the actions work in these. Right, there's some differences with the safeties and whatnot. This is a revolver, so revolvers are cool, but you're limited to 6 rounds. So that's one thing about them, okay? And the revolver, this one here is a Ruger GP 800. I'm GP 100. What am I saying? GP 100, and it's a double action. And I explained double action in my other video. It's one action, or you can pull it. Double action. Single action. Double action. So when you use those phrases, that's what they're referring to. A single action weapon, that's the only way it'll fire, or a double action weapon that does both. Okay, you know it's a single action weapon because when you grab it, like this is a single action weapon, and you pull the trigger, nothing's gonna happen. This is when you have the hammer forward, double action, it's gonna go. Okay, this one never happened. You have to pull you pull the hammer back, single action, bang. Single action, bang. Single action, bang. Okay? So, another thing about revolvers that people don't know is, oh, get that, it looks nice and cool, and it's small. They got snub nose, 357s, 38s, whatever. So anyways, the thing about revolvers is, if it's a single action, it takes time to pull it back, take aim, shoot. Okay? It also takes time to take aim, pull the hammer, boom, boom, boom. Every round will be like that because it's not an automatic. It's called a revolver. See how this is revolving? And I wouldn't recommend anyone buy a revolver until they get proficiency with their skills with an automatic and know how to set sights quickly and have a better chance of actually hitting what you're aiming at. Right? Handgun barrels are a lot shorter. This one's fairly long than a rifle. Any little movement, any little pull, boom, boom, you're off. You'll miss by far. And you're just gonna be making noise. You won't be hitting your objective. So I suggest staying away from revolvers until you become more proficient with automatics. Not only that, but revolvers, like I said, you're limited to, like this, in this case, 6 rounds. And so that this will be for later, I would say. If you're learning weapons, get that later. My recommendation, if you're female or elderly, like I am, I'm elderly, but anyway, I'm not old. But this is the easiest slide to chamber, to cycle around. This is the PK 380. It's made in Germany. It's a little different in that it doesn't have a decocker. Right there is safe, right there's fire. However, in the safe position, it totally blocks the hammer from hitting the firing pin. See that? I don't know if you can see that, but so you put it on safety and you pull the trigger, it will not discharge because it's being blocked. So that's how you decock it. And what I don't like about that either is you could have it in this mode with the safety on and have the hammer back, pull the trigger. So what's going on? Because the hammer's blocked. See that? So you have to, sometimes I miss that when I go shoot this thing. Another thing with this thing is it does not have a slide release. See that? Last round. And there's no slide release. Whereas in this case, last round, right? This one last round, it has a slide release. Boom. So it'll chamber the round for you, just like that. Boom, you're ready to go again. Bang. And the subsequent rounds would be times 15 more. So the capacity here is 15 plus 1. Plus 1 means 1 in the chamber and 15 in the magazine. This one here is 8 plus 1, 8 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, right? But PKs are known to, when you need to not have that slide release. So you watch the James Bond movies, he uses a lot of Walther PKs. Or PP or whatever model, but they're Walthers, okay? Walthers are known that you have to always pull it back. So you go through your last round, slap a new magazine, there's no slide release like these other two weapons, boom, and you're off to the races. And this one will be boom, you're off to the races. This one here, you must pull it back, and then you're off to the races. Okay, so that's clear on the PK. However, the advantages to the PK, and I read about it before I bought it, and I just never had a PK, so it went on sale. That's really what I wanted it. But then when I bought it, then I started reading up on it. The PK is made for elderly people and females who don't have a lot of strength to pull a slide back. See how easy that is? Okay, hammer forward is still way easier than this. You can see the difference. See that? Way different. The spring is way stronger, okay? So when strength is an issue like I just mentioned, I would recommend the PK. However, training is in order because it doesn't decock. However, it does safely decock when you have it on safety. And then also training is in order for knowing that when you're out of rounds, there's nothing to release the slide for the new magazine. You have to pull it back to get going again. Now another thing about the Walther, this particular Walther anyway, the magazine release is by the trigger guard towards the rear lower trigger guard. So it's got a lever here that you push to release the slide, okay? Hammer's block, won't discharge, okay? So these, if you want capacity, concealability, I really like the Bersa. You hear good and bad about Bersa. I was used to, years ago, would stray away from it because I heard they were not very good built, well-built weapons built in Argentina. Then coming home from South Dakota, we stopped by the gun shop at Colorado, Peterson Air Base, and they have a gun store there. So I popped in there and I was talking to the guy about Bersa, just checking out their gun counter, because at the time Kirtland didn't have any gun counter. And that's when I was talking to him about Bersas, and he said, you know what, don't underestimate them. The engineer Bersa defected from was that Walther. That's why these look like Walthers. What is it, Walther? I think that's what it is. So the engineering is there. He just wanted more money. They didn't want to pay him, so he defected to Argentina to make the same similar weapon. So the engineering is pretty good, and that's the birth of Bersa. I mean, Google it. I don't know if that's all accurate. I'm pretty sure it is, but to get more formula on it, Google it. And I like there's Bersa Thunder, there's Bersa Thunder Plus. I love the Plus because it's 15 plus 1. That's a lot of firepower, and this was meant for my wife to use. Hopefully she don't need all 16 rounds to hit what she needs to hit, but it's there. And like I said, if you're new to handguns and you don't like the way the automatics, oh, that's too hard, then these PKs are really nice. This is the Colt. This Colt is not too bad actually, but then again, the gun's like what, 30 years old. shit, more than that, 50 years, yeah, about, it's old. So the slide is, it is really well broken in. And I love this gun, because I guess maybe it's sentimental, it's my first gun. And they got sight paint you can put on there for easier acquisition. See that? That's been about over a month, I think I painted that on there. I'm impressed, because it's still perfect. We could use a touch-up, but the colors are there to set sight acquisition a lot quicker. And that's about covers it. Oh, with the Walther, what I didn't like about the sights is the rear sight has a lot of gap. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway. So sight acquisition compared to the Bersa. Bersa's narrow. See the rear end there is narrow, and whereas the Walther's got a really wide back rear sight. I don't know why they did that. But when you set sights and you get it all lined up, there's a lot of gap left and right of the Bersa. I mean of the Walther, this PK380. There's a lot of space between it. Where this is like pretty much locked on. You get that front sight centered, you're dead on. This, you got to make sure that the front sight is sitting in the center, because like I said, there's a gap between the front sight to the rear sight. That's the one thing I really do not like about this gun. But it's accurate as heck. Once you get it, you do get it sighted, but it takes a second longer to acquire sights. There, that's about centered. Boom. This one here would be boom, done. Here again, there's like play in the back, the rear sight. Boom, they're done. This one here is fast. Boom, they're done. This one is deadly fast. Boom, done. And so that's the difference with these and the Walther. Now, if you want to go a little bigger in ammo, this is a 9mm, this is a 380. When I first learned of the 380, same diameter, very similar. So it's like, I call it a short 9mm. Because that's basically what it is, a short 9mm, right? 9mm got a little more kick, but a 380 will still take your target down. God forbid you ever have to do that. But anyways, it's got the knockdown power, not like a skinny 22. So this is the lowest caliber I would go for self or home defense. A 22 will just piss off a big muscular guy. It's like getting hit by a smaller little bullet. It doesn't penetrate like these do. Now this 9mm I really like. This is Beretta. This went on sale and I picked it up. And double action, external hammer, works the same way, decocker, beautiful action, pretty sweet. And I've unloaded hundreds of rounds without a jam. And this one is 15 plus 1, so it's 16 rounds firepower. 15 plus 1 in the chamber, 16. 15 plus 1 in the chamber, 16. The difference is the ammo and the size. Not too much difference in size, really. But the 9 is kind of bulkier. But both these weapons are cool. I like them both because they're both double action, and they both are pretty dependable. This has a misfeed here and there, but if you know what you're doing, it's very easy to clear. Very easy to clear a misfeed. Boom, boom, bang, you're back on. And another key thing with your with your weapons is you need to make sure they're clean. Because a lot of times if they're dirty, that'll cause a misfeed. So they need to be clean. And then what else? I think that's pretty much it for this. So there you have it. I would recommend this as a starter weapon if you have issues with strength, cycling a slide. I would suggest PK380. It's a lot easier. And this you can't even buy anymore. They don't make them. I mean, they make a newer one, but it's smaller. And I don't like it. I like this better. It holds more rounds. Then you know about the revolvers. These are fun to shoot. They put out a big bang, but limited on ammunition, rounds of ammunition, and accuracy. You gotta really know what you're doing when you got a revolver in your hand, and you gotta take it to the range and practice so you can factor in the amount of effort it is to get that double action going. See, that's a lot of work right there. Every time, boom. Versus, okay, versus this, right? And then you go fire, and then like that. Every round would be similar, and you pick up the play, squeeze, boom. For this, you must do that. See, the gun's already pulling to the right, just doing that. It's not good to dry fire, that's why I'm holding the hammer back. Anyway, so that's that. I hope this helps. You decide what you probably want to get for your own personal defense. This world is crazy as heck. I know my girls will never leave my house unprotected. If they ever decide to get to that point where they want to move out, they'll be taking something with them. Anyways, take care, God bless, and safe shooting.